know, right?
Okay.
The cat between us. It's just a table. It's just a table.
I call this meeting of the Northeast Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is 5:30. Item 2, School Board Candidate Orientation. A, the Board of Trustees and Superintendent staff will meet with candidates in single-member District 2 for a position on the school board in an orientation session. So thank you for being here today. For this orientation, I'm Shannon Grona, the board president. I would like for both of you to take 2 minutes to tell us, introduce yourself and tell us why you're running. And then after that, I'll get into the rest. And we'll start with you, Ms. Klein. And there should be a microphone, and then if you'll just pass the mic over to Ms. Shelton.
Okay. Do I have to stand?
You don't have to stand. You can just sit.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Jacqueline Klein. I am a candidate for single-member District 2 for the Northeast ISD Board of Trustees. I am running on 3 issues in this cycle. The first one is going to be student safety, or safety rather. I want to ensure that both our teachers and our students are safe inside of their classrooms and from external campus threats. The second issue I'm running on is stewardship. So I pledge not to raise the tax rate for our tax-paying citizens of the district. There are no district funds. There are only taxpayer dollars. I will pledge to only bond issues will be a last resort, and I will advocate for bringing money into the district from the state's rainy day fund. And the third issue is student success. Currently, the Roosevelt cluster is only graduating students at about a 38% proficiency rate from what I've seen online, the information available. And I want to advocate to improve student outcomes. I am a lifelong San Antonian. I am an 18-year resident of the district, and I am the mother of 2 school-age children. So that's why I'm running. Thank you.
So good evening, my name is Tracy Shelton, and I'm also running for SMD 2, and I'm just standing because I stood to get the mic from you. And I'm running because I believe that educating all of our children is both a moral and an economic imperative. And there are lots of things that we'll have to do to make sure that we can fulfill that obligation that the state of Texas actually decided was important for us to do. And so I'm here. There are lots of things that we'll have to do, and I have some priorities, and we can talk about those later, but that's why I'm here.
You just put it in the middle. Thank you. So our goal this evening is to provide you with an overview of the roles and responsibilities of a board member. A school board member is the ultimate volunteer position. We do not get paid. This truly is a service to the community and a labor of love. The Texas Association of School Boards, or TASB, describes school board service as one of the purest and most important forms of public service one can provide in a community. It is a rewarding but time-consuming job. It requires a high level of dedication and teamwork. So what does a school board do? The board provides direction. We ensure that we provide resources so that staff can do their job and students are successful. TASB describes a school board as building a bridge between the community and schools. Board members listen to the community and are a voice for the students and community. Board members advocate for the school district at the local, state, and national levels. Board members are elected to govern, not manage, and the board governs, not individual trustees. One board member cannot change the district's focus. It is critical for candidates to understand that individual trustees have no official authority outside of a legally called board meeting, and the board cannot commit to actions which are not passed by a majority of those present at a legally called meeting. The only power that the board has is to take action on an agenda item during a duly called meeting. Candidates should be careful when making any promises during a campaign. A school board can only take official action as a body corporate. It is unethical to make promises that may appear to bind or commit the entire board. Our most important goal is to provide the very best learning environment for each and every student. We are a very diverse district of a little over 57,000 kids and over 8,000 employees. Our decisions as a board must benefit the diverse student population of the district. School board races are nonpartisan by design. We should not impart our own political or personal beliefs or agendas as trustees. Instead, we're expected to come to the table to make decisions that are best for all children. Being a trustee is not about individual need, but for the public good. I want to talk a little bit about the time commitment. It takes time to prepare for meetings, which involve reviewing the agenda packet and presentations. Members need to come well prepared to discuss and take action on items during the meeting. We typically have 2 meetings a month on a Monday night, and they last about 3 to 4 hours. There are months when we have a meeting every week, and sometimes during the lunch hour. During budget season, we have meetings once a week, and we meet on different nights of the week to adhere to required posting notices, such as we meet on a Thursday night to adopt the budget. We attend all graduations. Over the course of a 3-day period, we have back-to-back ceremonies from morning to evening. We also attend TASB conferences such as Summer Leadership, which is a Thursday and Friday, and the annual convention, which is in Austin or Dallas, sometimes San Antonio, and it runs from a Thursday to Sunday. We get invited to many school events, and we try to attend when we can. It's important to note that when you're elected to the board, while you were elected by your single-member district, you represent all of NEISD. So it's important to attend events at all the campuses. However, you should never just stop by a campus to visit. If you wish to visit a campus, you need to go through Mrs. Turner, the board's administrative assistant, to schedule the visit. Good evening.
Apologies for my lateness.
That's fine. So when I get finished with this, then I'll go back to you, Ms. Roland, and let you introduce yourself, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. As a new board member, you are required to attend training sessions in order to meet the required training hours, which is 10. As a new board member, you will attend district orientation, where you meet with all of the chiefs and their direct reports so that you can get an understanding of each of the divisions. The board has 3 main jobs: adopt policy, adopt the budget, and oversee the superintendent's contract and evaluation. The board policies and procedures are the governing documents by which the school district runs. Policy development is focused primarily on the goals and desired results for students rather than the daily operations. A careful, orderly process is used in examining the adoption of new policies or the revision of existing policies. And board policies are online for the community and staff to see. Another responsibility of the board is the adoption of the budget. We have a series of board meetings in May and June where we have budget study sessions. These sessions outline the district's current financial needs as well as future expenses and revenues. During the budget study sessions, we discuss the general fund, debt service fund, and school nutrition services fund. We also discuss compensation and benefit plans. We also set the tax rate. We do not set the value of property. I hope everybody understands that that comes from the Bear Appraisal District. But we do set the maintenance and operations tax rate that is used to fund the daily operations of the district. And we set the interest and sinking or debt service tax rate that is used to fund the principal and interest payments on the district's outstanding voter-approved bonds. The third primary responsibility is to hire and evaluate the superintendent. We oversee the superintendent's contract and we conduct evaluations. Board policy outlines the procedures for the evaluation. The board also conducts a self-evaluation to measure our success. To guide our work in the highest ethical manner and to preserve public trust, we follow a code of ethics. The Code of Ethics outlines principles for equity, stewardship, conduct, integrity, commitment, and student-centered focus. The Code of Ethics can be found online in our board operating procedures. Trustees and the superintendent also submit conflict disclosure statements, which are posted online. There are occasions where board members have recused themselves from voting on the award of a bid because of conflict of interest. There are also instances where a board member may recuse themselves from a grievance because of being involved in the process before it got to the board level. I encourage you to go to our website under the Board of Trustees tab and review the board operating procedures. These procedures guide the work of the board. They outline the role that the board members play, to include how board members respond to community concerns and campus visits. As a board member, we have strict confidentiality requirements. Everything discussed in closed session is confidential, and there will be times that we get information that cannot be shared with anyone. There's a great amount of trust among the board that conversations are kept confidential. Social media. If you are active on social media, remember that while you are an individual, people know you're an elected official. We can't post inappropriate pictures or say inappropriate things. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard than the general public. I want to close by revisiting the importance of the board working as a team with the superintendent. We sometimes call this the team of 8. Highly effective trustees operate with a governance mindset. In order to be a cohesive, unified team working together, we must create a common vision driven by a shared relentless commitment to the learning of all students. That is what our community expects. So I will now turn it over to Dr. Micah to talk. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Ms. Roland, you would like to take 2 minutes to state your name and tell us why you're running for the board.
My name is Ronda Roland. I have 33 years of educational experience as a teacher, an assistant principal, a principal, central office. I have my doctorate from Texas A&M in educational leadership. I'm running because I believe that my experience and my education could be used to help further the community, to bring together the community, the parents, and the students to help further the good things that Northeast is doing for our community and our students. I believe that I have a lot to give to this entity, a lot more years in me to provide some ideas and some leadership in this area. Thank you.
Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Micah.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I'm going to begin with thanking the three of you for your interest in wanting to volunteer to support and encourage the students and the staff of our school district. So Northeast, as Ms. Corona says, about 140 square miles in the north area of the city with 281 running through it. Our district boundaries start inside of Loop 410, and we go all the way up toward the Comal County line. We do have a diverse student population that has evolved quite dramatically since the 90s. And we really have strived to create a place for everyone. We have 57,000 students in 70 campuses. We have 2 magnet schools and 11 magnet programs that offer a specialized curriculum. Our district administration is organized by divisions, and I'd like to introduce you to the divisional leaders who comprise my executive staff. So I'm going to start here at the end. Ms. Aubrey Chancellor is our Executive Director of Communications, and so she oversees communications, our website, and social media, and all those other great things. Next is Anthony Jarrett. He is our Chief of Curriculum and Instruction, or Chief Instructional Officer. He oversees curriculum and instruction, special education, and those good things like that. Then to his right would be Rudy Jimenez, the Chief of Schools and Leadership. He oversees our campuses, administration, discipline, fine arts, athletics, and he's got a big job. Absent tonight, and I do apologize, is our CFO, our Chief Financial Officer, Dan Villarreal. He has had a death in his family, and he's at home dealing with that. It's not new. It's still the same one. I'm sorry, I should have said that. And then last but not least is Dr. Mitchell. He is our Chief Operations Officer, and he has a duty of overseeing maintenance, school nutrition, construction, all of those great things. And then I should end with Peggy. Peggy Turner is really up in my office, but she helps the Board of Trustees with a lot with communication and setting agendas and all of those good things. So Communication is really key when it comes to myself and the board. An open and ongoing communication between myself and the board is absolutely essential. Board members communicate directly with me if they have any concerns or receive any concerns from the community. That's because, as Mrs. Grona said, I am your employee as the board. And so you come to me, and then I decide where in which to disseminate it out, and then I will always get back to you with some information unless I'm busy, Ms. Villarreal, and then it takes a little bit, right? I often communicate to the board through text messages, especially when the information is urgent, because what I do not like is for you to find out through one of the media channels or something like that. I like you to be ahead of it, so I will oftentimes use text messages. For other things, I'll determine then maybe that is an email, because that can wait. As Mrs. Grona mentioned, confidentiality of the information you receive, it's critical. You will receive from myself very sensitive information about staff and students that cannot be shared, and there are laws around it such as FERPA and HIPAA and those things. Sometimes text messages and things come out regarding something about a student or employee with oftentimes demographic data is very specific to that issue, and so it's imperative that you remain and keep that stuff confidential. Mrs. Grona mentioned the roles and responsibilities of the board, and I would like to talk about the strategic plan that's been guiding our work. 2 years ago, the board began the process of creating a balanced district scorecard that defines key priorities related to students, staff, stakeholders, and stewardship. I call them the 4 S's. They're very simple to remember, and it really does guide our everyday work. No one priority is more important than the other. That's the beauty of it. It's a balance. We're always looking at those 4 things to determine in our thinking of what's the best decision to be made. With the help of community input, our board also adopted objectives around those 4 S's. Together, the priorities and objectives represent the strategy for our school district. Our staff, myself and those folks over there, then identified the actions, measures, and outcomes to achieve that strategy. That's the how of implementing the plan. In fact, just a few weeks ago, we recently sat down at a board workshop down where you all are and recalibrated around the scorecard, and really went through a year-long process and then took some time to reflect back. And from that, the board came to some consensus around this new model of long-term leading and lagging indicators and how we're doing it. So we're actually in the process right now of creating that and uploading it. So the key to the balanced scorecard, it's a living, breathing document. You have to continue to check into it because it will continue to evolve. In a minute, Ms. Caldwell's going to show you the balanced scorecard, and even from that, if you have not checked in, the thick black line is now very distinguished down where the center where we discussed with board and staff responsibilities, because I think, to your point, simplicity is the key, and staff was the word we landed on because I think it separated us apart. So at this time, I would like to go ahead and invite Ms. Caldwell, our Executive Director for External Relations, up to show you where you can find the scorecard and the other resources that you may need to access. Ms. Caldwell?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Micah. We're going to bring down the screen, and I'm going to show you how to navigate to the board information that Mrs. Grona and Dr. Micah have mentioned today, starting at our district homepage. So we are at NEISD.net. There are 2 ways to navigate to the board information. You can click on About NEISD, which is here in that top navigational bar, and then choose Board of Trustees, which is this button here under Get to Know NEISD, and that begins your journey into the Board of Trustees information. Another way you can navigate, just wanted to show you that, is just in that address bar at the top. You're at NEISD.net. You can type in the word board, and it will take you to the page. So 2 ways to get to that information. Mrs. Grona mentioned the board operating procedures. That is under About Us. This left side menu is going to have the links to everything that you need to get to. About Us, and then board operating procedures is over here to the right as a PDF. Again, that left navigation is there. Meeting agendas like the one for tonight, you would click on board meetings, scroll down, And there's 2 different buttons. You can review agendas and minutes, or you can watch past board meetings through this video's link. Mrs. Grona mentioned that one of the responsibilities is board policy adoption. That is here, again, left navigation, board policies. It takes you to our board policy manual, and you can search by either a subject. You can browse if you're not entirely sure what the keyword should be. You can browse by buckets of information, and that's the way that you can review all the board's policies. Again, I'm back on the board page using that left navigation. The election information, everything pertaining to this election can be found here. You will see basic information, and this page will continue to be updated as things happen in the election calendar. So for example, when the board adopted, or called for the election, ordered the election, that was added here at the bottom under notices. We will be posting an election notice, which is different than the order of election, and that will be posted here soon. So as we continue to meet the legal requirements of conducting an election, those items will be listed here under notices. As Bexar County Elections Department, which is who we contract with for the election, as they post information about the May election, voting locations and things like that, that will be posted here as a link to their site as well. In the process of being a candidate, you will be filing campaign finance reports. Those are also posted here on that board page. So again, using that left navigation, campaign finance reports are listed here. They're organized by the election, so May 2024 is where all the documents will be for this election cycle. The campaign finance report schedule was in the packet that you picked up from the district. It's also on the Texas Ethics Commission website. If you have any information that you're seeking that you maybe lost your packet, that is all there along with the forms. The schedule is you'll be filing a campaign finance report 30 days before the election and 8 days before the election. And once I have received those, they are then posted here. So that walks through the electronic resources that are available through our website. I'm going to move on to campaign signage. In your folders, you have 2 documents. One is our administrative regulation, GKD. That explains on school property when campaign signs can be posted. We only allow campaign finance signs 24 hours ahead of the election day, if that campus is a polling site. If the campus is not selected as a polling site by Bexar County, you cannot put signs there. And you cannot put signs on the property prior to 24 hours to election day. None of our schools are early voting sites, so you should not be putting signs ahead of early voting. This is truly just 24 hours before election day. There's also in there your text dot guidance of where signs can be posted regarding roads and right-of-ways. In the past, we've had signs posted, for example, on telephone poles or stop signs. That's illegal. You cannot do that. And we get calls. So once I am contacted about a sign being improperly posted somewhere, I will contact the campaign or the candidate if I have that information, give them 24 hours to remove that sign, and if not, then our custodians will remove it and dispose of it. So I wanted to just walk through that campaign signage requirements as well, because in the past we've had some issues with that. And that concludes my part, Mrs. Grona.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to provide a closing thought, and that's we all come to the table with different ideas and viewpoints, but we need to be unified in purpose to do what is best for all kids. So this was pretty quick. I hope that this was helpful, or at least gives you some ideas of how to find information about the process on our website. I would offer to you that if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me or Mrs. Caldwell with any questions that you might have. And so that concludes our candidate orientation for tonight. So thank you all for being here. And with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 5:54.